In today's episode, we've got a rather sad RENESIS RX-8 engine here that needs disassembly. So if you remember last time, we got to work on pulling this rotary engine out of our RX-8. This thing's had a bad life and it's lost compression and no longer runs. Today, we've got to pull the engine apart, pull apart all of its layers, and have a look at what is inside. When we pulled the thing apart and got the manifolds and stuff off, we found a lot of oily sludge, which is kind of not uncommon. Although things like the cooling system looked really nice. There was all very clean coolant passages. There was no rust or anything like that. It all looked really good. Today, we're going to pull apart all of these layers of this big metallic cake and have a look at how bad the rotors are. Hopefully, it's just a bad seal, apex seal or something like that, and we've replaced those and probably a lot of other seals, put it all back together and it runs again. Worst case, it's damaged housings, damaged rotors, they're all scored up in mud and we can't use them. If that's the case, we're not sure what we're going to do. So let's get to work on pulling this baby apart. So not entirely sure on how we tackle the disassembly of this bad boy. I'm assuming we'll start by pulling the sump off here, then probably this front pulley and the front assembly here. Then we'll flip it up, pull the flywheel off the back and then start lifting the layers away from the front iron, which is attached to the stand. We have already removed the big flywheel nut. That's like a 54mm big nut there. Dad went and found a socket from a mechanic mate of his that would fit on it and a big air-powered rattle gun, so we're able to get that thing off. They're tightened down pretty tight, something like 350 foot-pound or some weird number, I can't remember exactly. So they're pretty tight, which made removing it also kind of tricky, so we had to get the right socket and some big grunt to remove it. But other than that, yeah, I guess it should be fairly straightforward. Once the sump's off and the front's off, I think there's some oil and timing gear and stuff behind here we might need, well not timing, but the drive chain that runs on the oil pump. Then I think it's just a matter of pulling the flywheel and then all the big long bolts, like this fella here, pull all of those out, I think. And then it should just sort of start coming away in layers.
There's all like cranks and con rods.
Someone stole them. Does look a bit yellow and sort of kind of sludgy.
Oil still on there.
We can mop that up with the sucker.
You got a sucker?
No. The pickup is just that thing, is it? There's no sort of... Oh, there is a little screen inside there, so I see.
I'll get my sump.
And now, hopefully, that dowel is enough to hold it.
7
No, it's 19.
So you got the engine stand?
Maybe. Maybe not. Yeah.
One big gun again that it needs high volume air.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering, if maybe you got to turn up your regulator on the...
I'll split out. We're hitting that for like 30 seconds. Tell me when.
Go for it. Haha.
It's actually a bolt, not a nut.
Yeah. Hey. A little bit brown under here, but not too bad.
It's got like a bit of a...
Yeah, so on this cover, it runs out to that shaft.
Yeah.
And so this gear runs that gear. I'm pretty sure that's your oil metering pump.
Yeah.
Effectively feeds it, engine of oil into the combustion chamber. That's your oil pump, pretty sure.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So obviously the crank spins the oil pump. And it's got a nut with a little keyed washer thing. So we're going to knock that back. And we undo this nut and the gear and everything comes away together.
Oh, does it?
Take that off. Now this is keyed as well.
So we don't have to worry about positioning.
Wow.
Yeah, timing, that's what we need. Oh no, there's no timing.
There's no timing on these cars somehow. Some sort of magic that involves rotaries. There we go. So we've still got this. This needs to come off.
Does it?
Yeah. So that's keyed on as well.
Right, and that's got side.
And then you've got, yeah. And so there's actually shims and stuff that run under here.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And it's something to do with sort of setting. You have to set backlash. So when we torque down the front and the rear, the big nut on the back and the front, you actually have to set backlash with shims.
Yeah.
You can see that one there where it's sort of screwed in, and then you've obviously got that. Yeah, if I hold it here, you might need to tap the top of the E shaft with a mallet or something. You got like a rubber mallet or a bit of wood, just to sort of break it. Oh yeah, well that massive giant post might be too big.
Do you want me to knock it or not?
Yeah, give it a knock. Yay, she's free. So if we take this off, I reckon it will come. Either that or something else broke. Does it jiggle out now? Hey!
Hey, well done.
That was an experience.
It's on a tapered shaft, that's why.
Yeah, I suppose the tighter the nut, the tighter the flywheel sticks to the pin. There's your big gear, which is good.
What's that?
So that's your stationary gear, and then your rotor dances around that in its doing this thing. So that obviously doesn't move that gear.
Does that sort of give all your power out of your engine?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, like that is
What your
it's one of those fixed points that it full driven
yeah,
off.
I guess it's hard to compare it. There's nothing like it. There's no equivalent on a piston engine.
No.
Is there? I don't know what to call it. It's a stationary gear. It's always easier to see the sort of surface on the camera. I don't know why. Maybe my eyeballs can't zoom in as nicely as the camera can. I don't know.
Here we go.
side seals came out. You want to grab those?
We gotta keep them?
No, we'll replace them if possible. So the center point of the eccentric shaft doesn't move. So this point,
that's right, that doesn't move.
this point doesn't move, but this big offset lobe moves.
Yeah.
And that's what pushes, or what is pushed by the rotor, effectively.
Yeah.
And then the rotor is also controlled by that outside stationary gear. And so as you have combustion sort of here, firing the rotor that way, it forces this shaft to rotate.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? So it's actually the rotor being fired this way forces the rotor to push the eccentric shaft to spin, which makes the whole thing move. So we can take this out.
Well, I can't see giant gouges.
No. Yeah. Oh. I can feel it.
Pretty bad. You can't, can they hone these with a machine?
I'm not sure how it works. Not the rotor housing, the iron. Yep. And then you have to tilt the rotor housing at an angle. Not the rotor housing, the iron at an angle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are still. Yep. So I think this can just slide out now. If you want to see if we can just pull it out, it should just go straight up.
Like that.
Yeah. So there's no bearing material. Like these bearings don't look rooted.
Yeah.
I think. There's no material anyway, and they don't look all funky. You know, maybe there's scar or scoring or anything, but there's no.
The shafts.
There's no bits. They're not all in.
This is all in good nick.
Yeah, that's all
So
good.
they must feed oil into the centres. That's what.
Yeah. These brown lines.
If it was on your board of your piston in your car, you'd be worried.
Probably. There we go. Lots of carbon and burny bits.
Don't lose all the springy bits.
Oh, I caught more of them than you did.
Well, this one seems gunkier there, doesn't it?
Around the
Spark plug.
spark hole, they needed to rev the shit out of it a bit more because it's a rotary and they like that sort of thing.
Oh, did you feel there?
Yeah, that's where I felt first. I felt like the worst spot.
That's no good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely.
If you had a normal piston engine and you had scores like that, I would rebuild my engine like that.
Well, what an absolute bugger. While it was certainly an interesting experience unpacking this lump of metal, unfortunately it really looks like the internals are too far gone, with scoring and damage to both of the rotor housings. For now, we need to go away and have a think about next steps. It really would be awesome to have this car running under its own power again sometime soon. But that's all for now. I really hope you enjoyed this adventure so far. If you did, please share it with your mates. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.